Al 1 de Mayo.
Hello and welcome to the Pick and Pop Podcast. I am your host, Sam Dusamay Jr. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TheSamD. That's TheeSamD. Subscribe and rate to the podcast 5 stars, nothing less, at Google, Apple, Spotify, Overcast, Castbox, all major podcasting platforms. Search for the Pick N, no and, just the letter N, Pick and Pop Podcast. For all content, audio, and visual, check out thesamd.com. Follow along with the podcast on social media. On Twitter at Pick and Pop Pod, and on Instagram at Pick and Pop Podcast. Musical production done by May 1st Music. Support him at soundcloud.com/May1stmusic. And this is a special episode. We are bringing back the roundtable. So I do this maybe once or twice a year. Would like to do it more, but in this COVID time, with everything being remotely, haven't been able to get this off. But I was able to get 3 of the homies, 3 of the ones that we hit up and we talk every day. We talk shit every day. So I figured let's bring them back onto the podcast and do another roundtable. So with me, I have Sammy. Like, everyone here is CBS Sports. So this is credible media people in the game who work in the industry. So you're not getting no fanboy shit. You're not getting no blue check boy nonsense. I'm talking to real people in the industry. So we got, first up, Sammy. Say what up.
What's good? What's good? You know, Sammy, like you said, CBS, no blue check boy shit, real shit only. And yeah, man, excited to share my thoughts on here and go back and forth with y'all, talk a little shit like we always do.
No doubt. And we got, let me see, we got I think, is this Ab's first time on the pod?
Yeah, it's my first time.
Okay, so it's Ab's first time on the pod, the king of Brooklyn, Dr. Brooklyn himself, Ab LK, if you know the story. He is a Knick/net transitioning net fan, but he's hardcore. He knows his ball. Pause. And he's still, now I'm going to press him on this. You still feel James Harden is the best player in the NBA?
That was a troll, dog. But I mean,
cricket's out the game. I mean, but
no. I'm married, so let's go.
You did say it.
We could go.
All right. Okay. All right. So we will get there. Okay. Right. And lastly, you remember him from the last roundtable with Sammy and a whole bunch of others. We had like 8-9 people on that roundtable. That was a crazy roundtable. But we got North. Make sure you hear the pronunciation. North Philly's own. Also, if you ain't know, so what's good?
215 till I die. Trust the process. Mr. Bill Russell's overrated. Was good.
Talking that talk as always. Well, look, y'all, it's been a crazy pandemic induced season. Now the season's over. The free agent season has kind of slowed down. Trades have finally commenced to a certain extent. We still don't know what's going to happen with the beard. But free agency thoughts, trade thoughts, has there been any one move that has stood out more so than any other? It could be a small move. It could be a tinkering. It could be a coach being hired. Sammy, I'll start with you.
What's Dallas on paper?
What's that? Oh, so okay. So see,
better than Dallas on paper.
If see, now y'all being introduced to how Ab gets down. Ab just will take over any spotlight, any moment to get his take out there. So you're saying what now? Portland is worse than
Portland will be. I'm predicting Portland to be in the top 3 at the beginning of the season. Probably fizzle out between 4 and 3, but on paper right now, they're better than Dallas.
I think you thought that meant to be a hot take. I don't think that's a hot take though.
No,
like,
not at all.
Who thinks Dallas is better than Portland?
Oh, all right, my bad.
Also, why is Dallas the bar?
Word, like they just got 2 dudes.
Oh, because everybody's talking about Dallas and Denver. And Dallas and Denver are going to be high on the
I mean, well, blue check.
Yeah, well, that's because
Denver is going to be.
Yeah, that's because Dallas and
Denver is going to be number 2.
Dallas got the 2 dudes,
right? Dallas has 2 Europeans who fanboys and media shills love to talk about. So yeah, they're always going to have that going for them. But people who know ball aren't sitting here thinking that Dallas is going to be a top 3 or top 4 seed. They're going to be around the same level they were at last year because I don't think they've really improved that roster a lot. They haven't really done that much to improve.
I got the Suns over them too.
Okay. We will get there. Sammy, what's
Yo.
been the move that has stood out to you as being like an impactful move or a slick move or a smart move?
I think the lack of move here in an instance has probably been the biggest move of free agency. And I could be proven wrong within the next couple of weeks, but I think Milwaukee's failure to get Bogdan Bogdanovic is going to cost them Giannis signing the extension this offseason. And that's probably the biggest move of the NBA this year and next year if he doesn't sign on the dotted line.
No doubt, all eyes are definitely on Giannis, and he's definitely
he doesn't deserve Giannis. That franchise does not deserve Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I mean, they've tried to.
No, they have not tried.
No,
They had Malcolm
hold on
Brogdon.
now.
They had Malcolm Brogdon on bird rights and did
Agreed.
and did not want to sign him back because they didn't want to get close to luxury tax.
Right.
That was trick number one to me.
I mean, look, he can't theoretically say that they haven't tried. They made a trade for Bledsoe. They went out and got Brook Lopez. They gave the bag to Chris Middleton. They drafted DiVincenzo. Like, they've tried to surround Pete. They went out and got Wes Matthews last year. Like, they've tried to enhance the roster around him. Now this year they go get Drew Holiday. So it's like they've tried. And then, as Sammy said, they tried. They tricked it off, but they tried to get Bogdanovic. So it's not from a lack of trying.
They trying the cheap way. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog.
The bag that they offered Bogdanovic wasn't cheap.
But dog,
and they gave up a lot, according to you. They gave up a lot for Holiday.
This is like going to get your fiance a ring at Macy's. Like, you
at that level already, dog.
Dog, like, you making it seem like you trying, but you're not really trying.
Did you see the deflect right there? Did anybody catch that deflect?
But Ab, how much of that is them just being in a small market and not being able to make some big moves like the Lakers would be able to, or like Toronto would be able to? They don't have that kind of money.
Don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you.
I mean, look, that part I'll agree with. I think Milwaukee definitely has the wherewithal to try to spend over the luxury tax and accommodate a championship roster.
They're not trying to even hit the luxury tax. Like,
well, very, very few owners actually are, though. I mean, I don't even think the Lakers are because, the Lakers is their only business. So, like, they can't really trick the money off crazy with the luxury tax there. So it's not a lot of teams can even go theoretically into the luxury tax.
And then the big part of this, and I hate to bring this shit up because, like, it's going to be an excuse for a long time, but it's like the pandemic doing what it did to the business of the league. They may not be able to have fans in a brand new stadium. So now they're really thinking about money. And you already see what's happening over in Golden State, where they got a brand new arena and they fighting to get fans in there and they're not going to be able to either. So it's a lot to plan around, and then trying to spend, an extra $90 million for a couple guys, and you still might not win a championship.
So I was going to save Giannis for last, but since we're here, let's go there. Do we think I'll give you three options. A, he re-signs during the season. B, he walks away at the end of the season. Or C, he goes the free agency route, weighs his options, and ultimately comes back to Milwaukee. Give me the percentage chance of any of those options. Well, which one of those options is the most likely? That he re-signs during the season, he walks away at the end of the season, or he goes the free agency route, explores his opportunities, but ultimately comes back to Milwaukee? Ab, I'll let you lead off.
So you're basically talking 180 versus 220. Am I correct when I say that?
Sure.
$40 million is a lot to leave on the table, dog. Especially like
he's got a Nike deal with his own shoe.
Yeah,
he has his own sports agency.
But how much is that shoe deal bringing in annually?
I mean, he's
the most recognizable
he's
athlete in the
outside of
country.
LeBron. He's got the most popular shoe that's not a Jordan or a LeBron.
I don't know, bro. That 40 million is not something that
he could make that up on the back end. If he's going to stay in Milwaukee just for 40 mil, then like that tells me his mind isn't in the right place, and all the stuff that he talks about in terms of wanting to win and win badly, it goes out the window. Because if you're telling me you're that pent up for 40 M's, then why have your own sports agency? why have this SIG deal with Nike to have your own shoe? Because if you just want to get the most guaranteed money, then just sign it now.
Yeah, but then also he's been talking a whole lot of shit about super teams. Then he switched his stance up, talking about if they want to come over here, I welcome it. Nobody's coming over there, of course. But I don't know, man. I think probably C. I would give C.
C being that he explores he tests free agency, but ultimately comes back to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's who drafted him, so it's like, you got to see who's
okay
want to marry you, I guess.
Sammy,
I give it a 40% chance that he walks at the end of the season. I know he's got some relationships around the league, particularly with Bam. They got the same agent.
Right.
I believe they're both Nigerian. I think Miami is very enticing because of the culture there and the way that he works. I think he wants to be a part of something like that. Of course, Miami's a destination. I'm sure his girl wouldn't mind being in Miami.
Facts.
So I think there's a 40% chance he walks at the end of the season. Of course, I don't think he should sign, before the season starts, which he would have to. So I think it's a 40% chance that he walks. I think that's the best option for him, to be honest.
And to follow up on that, so do you think Miami would be the best opportunity for him?
The fit would be a little weird.
Very.
Because there's Jimmy Butler, there's Bam. Neither one of those guys are great shooters. I think the fit would be weird in terms of on the court basketball wise, but in terms of the culture of the organization, the fit would be fine, be seamless. Right. I think the best basketball fit would be Golden State if they can make a move. I'm just not sure they have the pieces.
Yeah, I think if they somehow wouldn't have took Weissman, I could see Giannis still being in play. But now I can't see how you could have Giannis and Weissman.
I think Weissman would be
sign the trade.
Yeah.
Copy. Also, what's good? Unmute, sir.
As Fabulous One said, he's a real talk in New York, but the Heat in Miami. He'll be in Miami next year.
Guaranteed.
Word
sources close.
Sources close to the Oso podcast.
Gotta respect it if it's sources close to the Oso podcast. That's interesting. The Miami thing to me is always there. It's always hovering. I just don't see that being a championship squad because as we've all spoken about in control rooms and many a control room, I don't know if Giannis is really a number one option. So if he goes to Miami, and let's say Jimmy and Bam are still there, Tyler Hero, is he going to be? Like, who's going to be the number one option? Because Jimmy is a selective number one. I don't think Bam's game is ready to now become a number one. And Giannis has proven in the Bucks' failures that he's not a number one. So can you win an NBA championship with no clear number one option?
Is he?
I think that's a little tough, man. He's in year 8, right?
Is he not?
Right, and he's still not a number one. It's year 8, and he's still.
Yeah, but like a lot of dudes don't win until post year 8. Like I think LeBron got his first chip in year 9. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jordan got his in year 8.
But we saw the evolution, though. I'm not seeing the evolution of his offensive game. Like we saw LeBron develop a jumper and be able to step out and hit a three occasionally. Jordan the same deal. Like I'm not seeing that. With Giannis in a big spot, I've seen it in the regular season, not in the playoffs.
When Giannis came in the league, he couldn't correct, he couldn't even score. So we saw the kid go from not being able to score to averaging 30. I think you still have a lot of growth yet to be seen.
I just don't know where that growth is. Can he get any more dominant physically? I don't think so. I think I'm not saying he's peaked and he's on a decline, but I can't see him being more physically aggressive. It would have to come at the shooting angle.
He has to develop. Yeah, he doesn't even need to.
Does he have a go-to move that's not running downhill 90 miles an hour on the fast break? Is there a patented move? I mean, it's year 8, dog. If he hasn't developed it by now,
I mean,
LeBron, it's the Euro, the spin move.
LeBron went and
if your patent move is a spin move, I mean, come on, dog.
I mean,
here's what I'll say. I think your point about there not being a number one on that roster, if that's the roster, I don't see how they get him and not give up Bam or Jimmy. But assuming Bam and Jimmy are there, your point about there not being a number one option is true. But can't you win with a couple twos?
I mean, the only time in our lifetime was that one Piston year, right?
And
I mean,
Pacers.
Chauncey was a number one by default, but I mean, in essence, was he really a number one?
What about?
I think Giannis is enough of a number one for Jimmy to be the number two dude on that team.
2014 Spurs.
I mean, Parker was out of his mind. Well, no, 2014, that was the Kawhi MVP, right? So yeah, Parker was still no. That was Kawhi. That was Kawhi that year.
He was a clear number one.
Yeah, because the Duncan clearly took a back seat, and Parker was battling injuries, if I'm not mistaken. I would say Kawhi was at that point the true number one. I mean, they still play Spurs ball, so it didn't look like it. But in terms of, ISO ball in the fourth quarter, like Kawhi had to rock.
I still believe that
Tony Parker was a leading scorer on that team.
Giannis definitely has another level that he needs to get to. He'll eventually get there. I mean, he's only like, 25, 26?
Yeah, he just turned 26.
Yeah, so Jordan ain't started winning until he was like 27, 28.
Right, but that was after like 3 years of college too. So it's different. We can't just compare the years between like Jordan and Giannis. Giannis came into the league much younger, so he's got way more NBA experience at this age than Jordan did.
I think at this level, I think Giannis is the type of dude that knows what he needs to get better at. I want to give him that credit.
Look, I think he's developed crazy from what he was. As Sammy mentioned, like the way he came into the league, he was crazy raw. Pause. So it's like he's done amazing things to get to this point.
Yeah,
I just don't know if there's another step for him to take. Like it's been an amazing transition to this point.
Nice.
I mean, he's gotten better every year.
Right. I just would like to see, for me to think he's a number one, I would need to see the shooting, and I'm not saying he needs to be a 3-point bomb away. Like, just show me a move off the dribble. Can you pull up and stop and hit a Jimmy? Like, he's tried to knock down the standalone three, and I know Corvers worked with him on that and all that type of shit. Then that's cool. But in terms of in the fourth quarter, can I give you the rock against a good defender or a good set of defenders, and you still give me buckets? Well, when you're going against the Celtics and you got Tatum and Brown hounding you, can you still go through them? I haven't seen anything that makes me think Giannis could do that. He could do it against lesser teams.
That is the way he's. I think a lot of that is a part of the ways that Milwaukee uses him in the offense too. Like
he doesn't get ISOs in the fourth.
He's not the fact that he's not getting ISOs, but I think if you have a guy like Giannis who's clearly physically dominant, and your only offensive option is to give it to him at the top of the key and ISO, like you got to be more creative on the offensive end. And like Milwaukee just was not moving against Miami. They were giving him the ball at the top of the key, and everybody else was just standing around waiting. Like, there has to be some sort of movement on offense. Get him the ball in the post a couple times. Get him in some pin downs. Like let him come off the screen and try to get a run and start off the screen. There's no movement in that offense like last year in the playoffs, and it showed. Yeah,
I think Coach Bud.
It's like giving the ball to Shaq. Right. Like you got to have some motion in the offense so that he has room to work.
See, that's the thing. I think they get so caught up in he's so physically stronger than most dudes, and most nights that's accurate. But you can't just dump the ball into him. Like he's not like really built like that. Like yes, he's wiry. He's got the wingspan and all that shit. But when it comes to just physically bully balling somebody in the paint, he can't do that every night. He can't do that every quarter. Like he's not physically built like that. He's strong as hell and way stronger than when he came into the league, but he's just not like a low post threat like that, but you could just dump the ball in and everyone could get out the way.
I think they did that a couple, like not last year, but 2 years ago, they did a lot of that where they were dumping it into him. He was pretty damn dominant on the block. They just don't do it enough.
Depends on the matchup. With him, if he's going against a true big, he can't do that. But if he's going against a tweener, like if he gets Tatum on the block, it should be Swiss cheese. Should be.
And then normally, I mean, shit. If you get him somebody like Daniel Tice on the block, he's done it to him plenty of times. So like, I think there just has to be more creative offense from Bud, and I don't know if Bud is capable of that. To be honest,
he definitely seems a little overrated now. The last 2 postseasons have not been kind to his resume and to his legacy in terms of what we thought he was coming over from Atlanta and all of that stuff. So I think he's definitely taking a hit.
Speaking of systems getting taking a hit,
go ahead, Mr. Transition. Go ahead.
Anybody wants to talk about Mr. George?
Pandemic P?
Way off P?
I mean, backboard P?
I mean,
stripper P? I mean, we could keep going down the line. Look, I can't wait for that podcast to drop, All the Smoke podcast. I can't wait for it to drop because I'm going to see how many more lives is he going to get off. He's already lied twice in 1 5-minute clip. So, they usually do an hour podcast. So he's got 55 more minutes to get how many more lies off. And you see Doc Rivers is throwing him under the bus already, saying, Ty Lue's going to have the same type of system. So I don't know what Paul George is going to expect in terms of the offense being different because it's going to be the same system. Paul George, first I'll start this. I'll go around to all 3 of y'all. Just straight yes or no. Is Paul George top 15 in the league? Sammy, yes or no?
Based on last season?
I didn't give you no precursors. As today's date, is Paul George top 15 in the world?
Unfortunately, no. I can't say it right now. No.
Okay, definitely. Ab says yes. Also?
Hell no.
Okay. So now we got 2 no's and a yes. So here's the thing, right? And y'all know how I feel. Like he's not top 15. So that's 3 no's and 1 yes. If PG is thought of by people like us who know the game, who are in this industry, how the hell do the masses keep getting fooled by PG? Because there's still a large sect of people that feel PG is top 10, not even top 15. I've seen those tweets.
I can answer that too.
Go ahead. I'm waiting. I would like to know how Paul George, who we know is not this nice, unless they talk to Ab, but for the majority of us think he's not this nice, but somehow outside of the 4 of us, Paul George is still held in high regard.
Who's going?
Also, what's up?
So, I mean, all right. So here's the deal. He's not top 15, clearly. But I think the reason why he keeps getting other jobs and still being held in a high regard is in the land of a plethora of 3-and-D guys. In theory, he's a top 3-and-D guy. In theory,
he should be number 1. He should be number 2 behind Kawhi.
But you saw what happened to Kawhi
or Braun,
right? So I think the thing is people see the fact that he can be a good on-ball defender. He can be a guy to get you a bucket, right? So there are a lot of 3-and-D guys in the NBA, but a lot of them are 3 and no D, or they're D and no 3. In theory, Paul George has both of those at a very high level. The problem is each year he shows you why he's not a go-to guy.
Agreed. I mean, I can't push back on that. Ab, as someone who's the only one of us who thinks Paul George is still top 15, why do you think he's top 15?
I mean, just going off of last season, not in 2019, not 2020, but
to say so you go back to OKC, Dame Lillard with a dagger in his eye. Yeah. That guy, he was top 15 then.
Yeah, he was top 15 then.
In what way, sir?
I mean,
I know he was MVP candidate for like a month, and then people got gassed off of that.
He had like his best scoring season. He also had his best rebounding season. You know what I'm saying? I think the injuries to his shoulders kind of hampered him, like he said it did. I'm gonna give him credit, but like he
says a lot of things though.
I know he says a lot of things, but like if you count from 1 to 15, like who's in the 15? Is Kyrie in the 15?
Not to me.
Room?
Who?
I'm asking Room?
Oh.
I have to list out 15, but Kyrie would be on the cusp of that 15.
He's not far from that. He's 15 to 20 to me.
It's Kemba 15?
Right.
Hell no.
No. What?
No.
I'm asking. I'm asking
in the year
I'm asking-
2020.
Right. All right. So, I mean, we could just, I don't want this to become who's top 15, but we know the usual cast of characters, your Bron, AD, KD. I would put D Book up there, Giannis, Beard.
Curry.
That's Curry. That's 7.
Luca,
He's, yep. At this point, he is now.
Embiid.
I don't know if I'm putting
one,
Embiid top 15. I don't know if I'm putting Embiid 15. I said D-Book, right? I'm putting Jamal Murray in there. He's in that conversation now.
Dame's got to be in your top.
Dame,
15.
that's 10 already. That's 10.
What about Jokic?
I wouldn't, but I can understand other people doing it, but I would not.
What's my boy name?
I mean, he did beat Paul George and Kawhi.
Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, yeah, Kawhi's
11.
in the top 15, yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, is he now reached that status?
Sure.
Nah.
That's 12. Siakam.
See,
No.
around 12.
Okay. All
Around
right.
11. See,
Okay. Wait. Tatum.
You see what's going on? Around
13.
11, it gets kind of shaky in the light.
No, Bob. No. Well, Tatum is Tatum is
shaky. It's shaky in the light after you.
How is it shaky? Who's shaky?
No one's agreeing. No one's wholeheartedly agreeing on these names. That's what I'm saying. Like,
No, but the only one we've all disagreed on is the one you threw out there in Embiid. No one's pushing back on Donovan Mitchell.
Kyrie.
We said Tatum.
Kyrie.
I push back on Donovan Mitchell.
You push back.
I push back on Donovan.
Yeah, I think it might be a little. Premature.
Kyrie is better than Donovan Mitchell right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Based on what?
That's what I'm saying. Like I
mean,
don't know.
He's a better offensive player, and neither one of them.
He's got better handle.
So it's not like
I don't know if he's better. He's got better handles,
But
he can finish better at the rim. In terms of a layup, he can't turn it over like Donovan.
is he consistently going left?
Who's this
If it
Kyrie?
wasn't for Murray losing his
Mitchell.
mind, we're talking about Donovan Mitchell,
Big
at really
facts.
highlight.
Big facts. Yeah.
They win. Utah wins that series. They don't beat the Clippers.
I don't know.
They don't beat the Clippers.
the Clippers.
I don't think they beat
They
the
don't
Clippers
beat
either.
the Clippers, dog.
Because Jokic
He needed.
did the
Yes,
Clippers,
he needs another guy. Yes, he's not good enough to beat the Clippers by himself. I agree with that, but I don't think it would have been like a sweep or even a 5 game. I think he would have been able to get them to 6.
So, but here's the thing: when you say top 15, I know there's 15 players better than Donovan Mitchell. Like I think Bradley Beal is better.
Facts.
Than
He's
Mitchell.
another one. That's 14.
I think Jimmy Butler's better than Donovan
There is
Mitchell.
15 right there.
Brandon Ingram.
I mean, I love Young Reaper.
That's a
I can't
toss-up.
put Young Reaper that high yet. I think.
RJ?
I mean,
See?
Ab, RJ,
You know I'm not answering that question.
because it's a given. Okay, all right, because it's a given. Okay, all right.
Why we even went there? But no, Paul George at peak Paul George is definitely 15.
Yeah, but that was like 4 years ago.
That was 2 years.
But
ago,
in peak,
like
he had a bad,
He broke his
bad
leg. I
series.
understand he broke his leg. And I think he's never been the same in terms of what he was supposed to be. All of that stopped when he broke his leg on a leg extension. All of his peak stopped right there.
See, like a lot like Ab, I think Paul George. If you would have asked me that question last offseason, I would have said he was top 15. But like, I mean, it's professional sports, so it's like, what have you done for me lately? And last season wasn't it, so I can't give him top 15 status.
And he had a chance to pick up the slack with Kawhi load managing, and yes, he was coming off his own injuries as well. But he had a chance to step up and be that second guy, and he
Right.
shit the bed every time.
Right, and he played like shit in the playoffs and all of that. So no, he's not top 15. A year ago, I would give you that.
I wasn't equating his playoff performance. I was just talking about straight the regular season. But,
Well, see that's a problem. To be top 15, to me, you have to show it in both. You can't just be a regular season superstar. You got to be both.
you're right. No, you can run.
And even when he was a Pacer, when he was like reaching his apex, I really didn't see anything that made me think like there were glimpses where like, okay, like as he thought he was going to be the dude that's going to be in LeBron's way in the East forever, and then eventually beat LeBron. Like that's the type of energy that he was trying to tell us that he was going to be. And I never really got that sense from him. Like I never saw those Pacer teams like, okay, one of these years they're going to catch the heat. Like, nah, they're like, nah, you're just not as good because your best player is nowhere near the other team's best player.
That's correct.
Like, right. Like we shit on Giannis because like he shit the bed in the playoffs. Like, but he still averaged like 27 and 14 a game.
Sure, yeah.
Paul George's not coming close to that.
No.
Like
No.
nowhere near those numbers.
He's never hit a big shot in his life outside of that commercial.
So was everybody on the Clippers justified and when PG got all these big time I guess
What, the perks?
Yeah, the perks.
Well, look, he's a star. He's a star. So like,
were they justified in being pissed or?
Oh, of course. Especially if you're Lou Will, you're Pat Bev, even someone like Jermichael Green, and you know PG's walking in and he gets the call when practice starts. He gets to decide when he's load managed or when he even wants to get into a game. Like Kawhi, you understand it because he's the franchise. Like y'all moved heaven and earth to go get him, and y'all stalked him for a year when he was in Toronto. So okay, word. He's clearly the guy.
Doc bent over backwards to accommodate him, dog.
I mean, the whole franchise did. Ballmer, Lawrence Frank, like the whole franchise.
Especially.
First of all, First of all, I mean, look, like Doc even wanting to coach him is
I mean, look. So Doc said no to Tim Duncan's wife, but said yes to the man that cheated on his own daughter.
Yeah, he was he was he was scarred from that. You got a chance to get Tim Duncan and you don't get him because you don't want to.
That's never talked about enough. That's why I try to bring it up on this podcast as many times as I can. Cause that potential dynasty is not talked about enough. Where you could have had Duncan, Grant Hill, pre-injury.
Nah, it was just going to be Duncan and McGrady, man.
Grant has admitted that he rushed back because it was just him and T-Mac. He said, "I came back too soon." If they have Duncan there, he could do a full rehab because he don't got to rush.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking, when he come back, didn't he get another like hairline fracture?
Yeah, because he came back too early. That's what I'm saying. He came back too early because it was just T-Mac going dolo. It was T-Mac and Doliak. So I mean,
and
Daryl Armstrong,
right? Daryl Armstrong doing layups at the dunk contest. Like this is who T-Mac had to hoop with.
Then he had Troy
Speaking of Doc,
speaking of Doc,
what's going on in Philly?
The voice of Philly, Oso. In case you may know, so your thoughts as the Sixers. I think they're going into a do or die year. I think the moves they've made, the changes they've made, the influx of front office alleged talent. This is a do or die year for the Sixers as they are constituted. What say you?
Well, back to the original question, which was about moves that were smart in offseason. I think getting rid of Al Horford's awful contract and his awful performance was a good move. Daryl Morey, Danny Green might be washed as well, but at least he is a fit for the team. So I'll take a washed fit over a washed not fit any day. Plus, we freed up some money, which allowed us to get more flexibility. And then obviously the trade of Richardson for Seth Curry, again, is a better fit. Jay Rich may be a better player in a vacuum, but not a shooter. So Seth adds the shooting that we desperately needed. Danny Green adds shooting that we needed as well. And he had a bad year last year and still shot 36% from three. Way better than Jay Rich did and Tobias. So now Tobias is your third shooter on the floor. Now that squad has a lot more range to play, and which allows the paint to be opened up for Ben and Embiid to do their work. Also, Doc Rivers has been the coach for Tobias in his best years because he knows how to play pick and roll and run that kind of offense. And they're going to do a lot more pick and roll in general with Ben and Embiid, which obviously is better for them. Even though I'm not sure if Embiid can even be a pick and roll player because his passing and his ball handling is not ball handling. His hands aren't that great sometimes. But I think Ben will flourish in that system. I think Ben and Tobias should have a big year this year. I think Seth will get a whole bunch of open threes. I think Danny can be to be a good mentor for somebody like Matisse Thybulle, which he needs. So I think overall it'll be a better team. I'm not saying we're going to be a contender at all this year because I don't think they are, but they're definitely better than they were last year.
The expectations, because obviously you're bringing in Morey, you're bringing in Doc Rivers, you're able to get out from under the Horford contract, like you mentioned. The talent is still there with Simmons and Embiid, and they filled in with a lot of great ancillary pieces. Tobias Harris. What is a reasonable expectation? Is it a second round appearance? Is it Eastern Conference appearance? Is it a failure if they don't even make the second round? Like, what, as someone who is locked in on that squad and the fan base, what is a realistic expectation for that squad?
Well, I think this year is which is weird because we're in like year 4 or 5 of this, but it's kind of an evaluation year for Morey. I think he wants to see how Embiid and Simmons can do with better pieces around them and a better coach or a coach.
Right.
And so I think he wants to see how they do. And then based on this year, he'll either trade, I would assume Embiid, but one of them for sure, if it doesn't work out. I think the workout for me equals Eastern Conference Finals. You have to at least get there for it to be a worked year. If not, someone has to go.
But if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, do you still think like they have to get rid of somebody if they don't get to the finals?
If they don't make it to East Conference Finals,
no, I'm saying if they don't make it to the finals. If they,
if the team plays well and it's a 5 bounce rim job situation and things go well, then yeah, they can run it back and alter and tweak here and there.
So it's not set in stone that somebody has to go.
Huh?
So it's not set in stone then that somebody has to go, but it just depends.
No, it's not. But I'm saying, but it depends on where they go.
Okay.
And then the other question I had, sorry Sam, but the other question I was just going to ask was, let's say the Eastern Conference is a little bit better than it was last year, a lot better than it has been in years past. So it's like if they catch a bad matchup in the semis, let's say they get the Nets and they're on a roll, or they get the Bucks so let's say one of these teams had an injury and they catch just a bad matchup in the semifinals, and they it's a good semifinals, go 7. Do you still feel like they need to break up that team?
Well, this is not really my well, actually it is, because I'm actually not a big Embiid guy. I think Embiid is soft. I think he's the main reason. No, not the main reason. I think he is the reason we lost Toronto. We should have beat Toronto. We were already up in that series. He disappeared for games, didn't play that well, and he is just not focused on being the best player he can be. He has all the tools in the world. He has the footwork of Olajuwon. He has the size of, not Shaq, but, he's 270, 280 at least. He's a big dude, and he's taking 3-point shots 8 times a game sometimes. So I think his mentality is still a little immature. So I think that if we don't go to a certain level this year, he isn't the most durable person in the world, and his window is kind of short, which is why I think you have to trade high, get some value for him while you can.
Is the Harden deal off the table for you?
It depends on what we're giving up. If we're giving up one of the two for Harden, I don't know how the team necessarily is that much better, even if only slightly better.
Yeah, see that's the thing with the Harden deal. Like I think it could work, obviously, if you find a way to get Harden and keep the two of them. I think in a weird way it could work for a year. If you have to give up one or the other, I would have a hard time making that deal for Harden, because to me, bringing in a Harden means to me, it would still be like a stopgap move. Like, it's not like the true, okay, now Harden is the franchise. Like, you're not doing it there. You're just trying to fill in the gap and trying to bring in a true number one option to fill around whoever's left as the second option. But to go even deeper with it, are we expecting anything from Ben Simmons outside than what he's already given us? Are we asking, as a basketball public, are we asking too much of Ben Simmons to become something he's clearly shown that he either doesn't want to be or doesn't have the capacity to be?
Well, I think Daryl Morey already said it, and I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I've been saying it. It's not really about the 3-point shot. That's some people who don't watch the team nonsense. The reality is about him going to the hole more frequently, him finishing at the hole more frequently, and more importantly, him shooting at a much higher percentage from the foul line. If those three things happen, dominant player without ever shooting at all. So that really needs to be the adjustment that he makes. And that's a legitimate adjustment that he could easily make this year. And I would hope that Doc and Sam Cassell, more importantly, are going to have him feel more comfortable being that kind of.
I agree with you, but the only thing I would say is that whole 3-point line noise that people make is nonsense.
I just want him to take a jump shot. I don't even care about the three.
Right. I need a 15 to 16 foot. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Or a
stop on a dime, and just give me a 16-foot shot. You know what I'm saying?
Especially when they're giving it to him. I understand if he's not confident in the three or it doesn't fit the system, that Doc's going to bring him whatever. Okay, that's fine. I'm not asking him to become Klay Thompson. What I'm saying is, if you get the ball at the top of the key and someone is sagging off 5 feet, hit him with the Jimmy.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to hit a 19, 18-foot jump shot. Like, and he's done it. That's the thing. We've all seen him in the layup lines, hitting threes and hitting jump shots. We've seen the workout videos on social media where he's cooking dudes, hitting jumpers in the eye. But it's something when those bright lights turn on and he's at the arena where he's not doing it. And that's, to me, where it's like, is it a mental block? Is it a he's openly talked about that type of stuff, and the sports psychologist and all of that. So it's like, is it truly a mental block? Does he have the yips? Does he? I don't know what it is that stops someone who you said who is gifted. Like, he's gifted offensively, gifted defensively, and he refuses or seemingly doesn't feel the urge to pull on an open jump shot.
Yeah, because that inadvertently forces Embiid to come out and become a shooter.
Yeah, because if all the attention, if someone is sagging off Ben at the top or wherever he's at, they always sag off 5-6 feet, then that's basically someone in Embiid's lap if he's in the post
on him.
So he really can't cook on the block because he's got two dudes theoretically in his lap. So that's why Brett Brown, who, look, I'm not, people who listen to this podcast know I'm not a Brett Brown proponent at all. But that's why they came up with that dead zone thing, where they basically had to make sure that Embiid and Ben weren't on the same side of the court because it was bringing too much attention to Embiid. So it's a huge year. It's a huge year for Philly. I think, as Sharon insinuated, there could be some changes if this doesn't work out well. Sammy, as someone who's played ball. And in case y'all don't know, we're dealing with a 2-time back-to-back MVP.
Stop it.
Sammy's bona fides are solidified.
Let me stop you there, Sam. I'm sorry. I know this is your podcast.
You want to give the proper intro for him?
Because if you're going to say 2-time MVP, people at home may think he's like a Steve Nash 2-time MVP. No. He's more like a Michael Jordan 2-time MVP.
He did it before Steph. He did it before Giannis. He did it even before LeBron.
Stop it.
So Sammy's bona fides are bar none. So as someone who has excelled at the game of basketball at a high level, is there any explanation you can give us mere mortals, on how Ben Simmons, who is a 6'9" freak of nature, who has all the ability and all the skill set in the world that you would want as a player, how can you explain someone that good not being able to do one fundamental thing of taking a jump shot?
It's like you said, it's a mental thing. You said it. Like, we all watch Ben Simmons shoot hundreds of jump shots every offseason, and it looks pretty good. Like, the form looks okay. It goes in. He's doing it off the dribbles, step backs. He's got moves. Like, we all know he got handles, so he can do it. I don't know what happens in the game. I don't know if Brett Brown was telling him not to shoot the ball. I don't know what was happening, but like, he just will not take a jumper. And it doesn't and like Sharon said, it doesn't have to be the fact that he's not taking jump shots. He's just not aggressive at all on the offensive side of the ball. And a lot of that we saw at LSU.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't like a thing that just started, when he got to the league. Like, that 1 year at LSU, he wasn't very aggressive. And that team wasn't very good.
Didn't even make it to the tournament.
Did not make it to the tournament.
Yeah.
So, like, I just think it's a thing where either he has to have a conversation with self, or somebody has to be able to push Ben Simmons to be like, and I think Jimmy Butler wanted to be that dude to push him to the next level of just using the skill set that he has. Because I feel like he's playing at about 60-70%, and he's already an all-star.
Right.
So if he cranked it up to 100, what could Ben Simmons be?
Ben Simmons all NBA.
Should be every year. It
Right.
should be an easy. He's what? That's 15 players, right? If you make all NBA, that's 5 players for 3 teams. So he should be top 15.
He should be the face of the league.
If he never took a jumper, Ben Simmons should be averaging at least 22 a game. Like, we just saw Zion not take jumpers, and he was averaging 20.
That goes to my point, though. If you make your foul shots, he averages 23 easy, but he's not shooting his foul shots at a high enough rate, which then causes him not to be aggressive in the fourth quarter, right? So he's leaving points on the floor. Look at the games in the playoffs where he actually was aggressive. He was murdering people. Kill
But
him.
here's the thing: even if you're not making the free throws, right, you're still getting 1 point. Like even if you shoot 50%, if you keep going to the rock, those 50% add up.
Right, if you keep going.
So that there's something in him that makes him be afraid of wanting to go to the line, and therefore it translates to him not being as aggressive. So it seemed to be a simple concept, like, yo, bro, just keep going. Like, that didn't stop Shaq. Shaq with 50%, we knew he was going to make 1 out of 2 every time. But he still got the
But it
rock.
also isn't.
Go ahead.
No, but it also isn't just a foul shot, and it isn't just being aggressive, right? It's also his ability to finish at the rim. He eases up too much. He floats the ball too much. He pulls back too much. He's rarely ever going hard, which is funny because in the All-Star game when he got hurt, he was going out for a putback dunk that was going to be nasty, and that's never him in a real game. Or not never, but rarely him in a real game. So I think if he was just more aggressive and finished at the hole and shot better from the foul line, there'd be no problem.
What's crazy is that his 2K layup package is even passive.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even.
Yeah.
it's,
He's not the best at 2K. So we spoke about the Sixers and how this is a big year for them and how this could be a referendum on how they look going forward in terms of roster makeup. I think the same could be said for the Nets. And we have Dr. Brooklyn on this roundtable. And the Nets with KD, with Kyrie, at this point in time, as of this recording, LeVert, Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, Joe Harris is back. Dr. Brooklyn, Ab, what do you see from your Brooklyn Nets as we finally get to see Kevin Durant in a Nets uniform?
I see a top 3 seed. Top 3. I've seen them at beginning of the season, probably
72 games. Are they winning 50 games?
Little bit less than that.
Okay.
I hope. I mean, from what everybody's saying is that KD is back officially, but then again, you got to see how they fit. Like, you see how
everyone allegedly from who has hooped with him is saying he looks even better than before. I mean, now that could be hyperbole and just hype machine shit, but every dude that's hooped with him that has been in a run with him,
come on, and be like, yo, it's not, you know what I'm saying? But what I really want to see is how Kyrie fits, KD Kyrie fits with LeVert, because I think LeVert really has a chance to become that third option for them.
Which is weird because he was the number 1 option 2 years ago.
Yeah. So it's like, I want to see how that dynamic actually pans out before I can actually say, like, all right. But I think the ceiling for them is the Eastern Conference Championship.
That's the ceiling?
Wow.
I think that's the ceiling.
That's
What?
it?
They go if they're in the finals, then they overachieve.
All those wait, hold on.
Whoa, hold on. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck here. Just looking at the roster, they're the second most talented roster in the league.
I know that, but then
And they may be the most talented roster in the league when it's all said and done. But
and they still might go get Harden.
Right, and they still might go get Harden.
KD's coming off of
Dog, he's been out for a year, almost 2 years. He's good. He's good, bro.
I mean,
It's almost 2 years he's been out. He's fine.
You say that, but it's like
And his game isn't predicated on jumping. The Jimmy is still wet, dog. Pause. So I mean, he's still, as long as he could shoot, he's still KD. It's not like he was
may not be able
blowing
to
by
defend the
people.
way he might not be able to defend the way he was.
There's
Right.
a big practice in full court going at it. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know what his mental is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Okay, so I'll make you the
only reason why I say that these conferences their ceiling, and if they do miss the finals, they overachieve because I see LA going back to back easy. So it's like,
right, but that's the West. We locked in on the East right now. So right now you're talking about Milwaukee, you're talking about Boston, you're talking about Miami. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're talking about Philly.
back.
You think Miami takes a step back?
I can see Miami going back.
Oh, going back. Okay.
No, I think they take a step back. I think
Miami going back for round 2.
Okay, but I'm saying in terms of we haven't seen Kevin Durant when healthy is the second best player in the world. So you're bringing now
arguably the best player in the world.
Sure. So now you have that type of caliber player coming back.
I don't want to set the expectations so high,
but you have to. You can't have a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie, who you said is top 15. So you have two of the top 15.
I didn't say that.
Dog.
Everybody said no.
Dog.
But
let me step in here and help Ab. I'm honorary Brooklyn. I got one more year to do on my bid before I'm official Brooklyn, according to Dr. Brooklyn. So I'm like quasi, you know what I mean, able to speak on this. I agree with Sammy's point about their talent level, but I also agree with Ab's point about the East Conference Finals being the actual bar, and here's why. Yes, Durant is a killer. Yes, Kyrie is an offensive genius, right? Yes, LeVert was the first option 2 years ago. Yes, Dinwiddie is a really good guard. Joe Harris, keep going, right? But they haven't played together. Chemistry does matter. And I think the bubble of anything else really proved how much chemistry is really important in NBA basketball, and especially in the playoffs. And I think if they went to the finals, that would be overachieving, despite all the talent they had on their roster.
And to piggyback off that too, they do have a brand new coach. This is first year coaching, dog.
And Tony's going to be calling plays, dog. Nash is going to be hands off. He's going to be like a figurehead. You know what I'm saying? Like D'Antoni's going to be basically orchestrating that.
Then that's even worse. Because what has D'Antoni done? Where has he been?
He's gone to multiple conference finals.
All right, conference finals.
Which is, you know, I mean, look, I think I think they need to make a trade to be a champion, to be like a legit contender to face whoever comes out the West. I think they need to make a trade. I don't think it's Harden. Mm-hmm. I would before the John Wall thing, I would have loved for them to try to go get Brad Beal. I think you put Beal, KD, and Kyrie together. Now you're talking, because that's like some Warrior shit from like 2015 or 2017 when KD was there.
I don't see someone that needs their shots like a two guard meshing with Kyrie, dog.
I agree. I
don't see an alpha two guard meshing with Kyrie.
So
I agree.
So LeBron's not an alpha?
Huh?
LeBron wasn't an alpha?
No.
Kyrie took the most shots on that team.
He wasn't a two guard. You know what I'm saying? And LeBron was already like he was dead focused on
KD has proven he could take a backseat. He took a backseat to Steph all them years in Golden State until the fourth quarter when he was the best player on that team and he took over. So he could theoretically do the same thing here. He could let LeVert cook. He could let Dinwiddie and Kyrie cook for 3 quarters, and then fourth quarter, give me the rock and get the fuck out the way.
No, hear me out. I don't see a Bill that type of talented two guard working with Kyrie. I don't. I think that's a bad mix, because Bill needs the ball to get one. Like they both need the rock, dog. Like
let's keep it as constituted. Then let's say that they don't make any trades. LeVert and Dinwiddie. Obviously, we're assuming Dinwiddie's going to come off the bench. LeVert's going to start. I'm assuming Joe Harris will be a major key factor in spacing the floor. At big, are they going to go with DeAndre, or do you want Jarrett Allen in the paint, and does it even really matter? Or do you go small and put Dinwiddie out there and put KD at the 5?
It's a lot of mouths to feed.
Nah, I think they start off with Jared Allen, and then let's see where we go from there because DeAndre is on his last legs.
You could do a Zubac Montrez thing with him where DeAndre starts, but Jared Allen gets the bulk of the minutes.
I mean, you can just defeat his ego, but at the same time, dog, it's like
because allegedly he's the reason why they're all there. Allegedly,
so you have to get burned, but nah, I think Jared Allen gets the nod. Oh, like you said, he the most minutes out of those two, definitely.
All right, so we spent a lot of time. Oh, go ahead, Sammy.
I was just saying that I think there is a move to be made. I don't know if it's for like somebody like a Bradley Beal, but right now, as constituted, they have a lot of talent. Like I said, the second most talented team probably in the league. I don't know how all of these pieces fit though. Like Dinwiddie likes the ball, Kyrie likes the ball, KD can play off ball, but we know that he likes the ball too, and so does Karis LeVert. Like Karis LeVert, when he's at his best, is when he has the ball in his hands and he was ice on, like he was doing in the bubble. So
that's what
I think.
I mean,
I thought the Drew Holiday thing would have been dope if they could have figured that out. Because Drew could have came in there. He doesn't need the rock. He's just there to D up, get you an occasional bucket. That would have been a better fit. But I
they need a legit
they
3-and-D dude, a legit 3-and-D like wing.
Well, LeVert can be that, right? Theoretically,
he's not. He's a good shooter. He's an okay shooter. He's above average, but he's not a great shooter.
He's more of a bucket.
He's a bucket.
Okay, defend that best.
Can I get here before Sam segues to the Western Conference?
But yeah, I don't see a ball dominant guard with Kyrie. Hell no.
Can we get a quick Bulls take on this one with two Bulls fans on here?
There's only one. So Sammy, go ahead. Patrick Williams.
I like Pat. The more I think about it, the more I like it. It's a lot of potential there. It's a pick based solely off potential. But he already has an NBA body. He's like 6'8", like 225 already. And if you look at him, he looks bigger than that. Youngest player in the draft, athletic, already plays defense, used to be a guard, so he can pass a little bit. I think it could pan out if Billy Donovan can develop him. I think they're looking at him like he could be another Jimmy Butler. That's kind of what they look at him like.
Close us out with some Knicks tape draft recap. Are you an Obi guy or nah?
Obi Toppin will be a decent he'll be a decent rookie. He's 23.
Decent as in better than RJ?
No, not better than RJ, but he'll be in a running. 23 years old, dog.
Starting by post All-Star break. Will he be starting?
He has to start now.
Okay. I like that type of talk. Okay.
Yeah, this is New York. You drafted him, let him start. But I think he's going to be good. I mean, he's 23 years old. If I can do my research, I'm willing to bet that he was probably 14 playing with 12-year-olds in AAU. I haven't done my research, but I could probably guess that because he's way too old to be coming out of college. So that right there already tells me he's going to be good.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, look, this was. I think this will be part one. I think we spent a good strong hour doing the East, heavy on the East, sprinkled in a little bit of the West and some free agency and some trades. I think we'll do a part two coming up soon before the season starts in like about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So I'd like to thank, also, if you ain't know so, I'd like to thank Sammy. I'd like to thank Ab, a.k.a. Dr. Brooklyn, a.k.a. Ab LK. And this has been the Pick Up Pop Podcast. I am the Sam D, Sam Dusenberry Jr. Follow me on all social media platforms at the Sam D. That's TheeSamd. Pick Up Pop Podcast, Roundtable, Part 1. We out.